Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist, that's a CBT therapist, and a licensed mental health counselor. I'd like to thank all my subscribers, my viewers, for all your support, mindfulness, and the respect we give the victims and each other. I really do appreciate that. Kaden Young, may he rest in peace, was a 22-year-old student. He was the former president of AKA, that is Alpha Kappa Lambda fraternity in Idaho, Moscow. In March 2023, actually the 21st of March 2023, a couple of months after the Idaho quadruples happened, Kaden Young had a deadly incident, a fatal incident. He was with a Frat member in Washington, Seattle, and the Frat member drove him to a Holiday Inn. While he was at the Holiday Inn, there was a man and a woman with him in his room. They called the reception in Holiday Inn and asked their reception to call 911. The reception manager and the maintenance came upstairs and they found 22-year-old Kaden Young unconscious on the floor. He was blue in color, and the female was sitting on her knees crying, and the man with her was punching a wall. They were worried. When the police came, they gave him Narcan because allegedly he got cocaine laced with fentanyl, the deadly poison. Cayden was rushed to Washington Seattle Hospital. He got treated and he was discharged. A couple of hours later, 911 was once again called by a young Frat member, Cayden's friend, who goes by the initials D for David. He told 911 and the police, he even showed them a recording that Cayden went to get some sleep, and while he was sleeping, foam started coming out of his mouth. May he rest in peace. They rushed him back to the hospital, but he was without a pulse. Tragically, he lost his life. The young man and young woman who sold him the rugs that was laced with fentanyl was 21-year-old Emma Bailey from Idaho, Moscow, who's friends with Ashlyn Couch. Ashlyn Couch was the 6th roommate who lived at 1122 King Road. Emma Bailey lived right behind King Road. So you can see she didn't live far away from King Road. Demetrius Robertson from Tampa, Florida, who's 37 years old, was the man punching the wall. He was relieved the first time Kaden Young was given the narcos so that he was revived. They both left the Holiday Inn after Demetrius gave Kaden Young CPR, and he actually took him to the hospital, but that was on the first round. The second time 911 was called for Kaden Young before he unfortunately died. There was no pulse when 911 came. The police told Caden's friend Dee to call Emma Bailey and to tell her that we need more rugs to come over. Obviously, the police were trying to set up Emma Bailey, but I think she clocked on. She said, "I love y'all, have a good time, I'll talk to you later." I think she understood that something happened to Cayden. Emma Bailey and her boyfriend, Demetrius Robertson, who has 2 domestic violence cases from before, nothing to do with Emma Bailey, but other cases previously, I think from Tampa and Moscow, were arrested for Kaden Young is OD. They were taken to court.
21 is also present appearing via WebEx in the Lewis County Jail. He is represented by David Brown. Both matters are on for trial confirmation. Will Halstead for the state.
All right, parties confirming?
The state is not here. I'm going to ask the court for a 1-week continuance for 2 reasons. One, Detective Clary is not available next week, but the second issue is one we faced last week. The state is still waiting for labs from the Washington State Patrol. Those are in the process of being analyzed. Hopefully we'll get them back. Speeding on both matters is May 29th. I did speak with Mr. Clark. He told me that he was not going to be objecting to the continuance based upon the fact that it's still within speeding. I'll let Mr. Brown address this claim.
All right, Mr. Brown?
Yeah, Mr. Clark told me the same thing. They're not objecting as long as it's within speed. Explain that to Mr. Robinson. We're opposed to any further continuances. Feels like the evidence we've gone over, there's not enough there, and he should just be dismissed, and if the state ever gets the evidence, then they can refile it.
Anything further, Mr. Halstead?
The only thing that I think we need to address is the letter that was sent by Mr. Robinson. I don't know if the court got a copy of that or not.
I did. Mr. Brown, have you seen that?
I have, and I explained that to Mr. Robinson. I don't know if he still wants to go forward with that or not.
All right, Mr. Robinson, you sent a letter that I received indicating that you were dissatisfied with Mr. Brown's representation. Do you wish to pursue that?
At this moment, no, right at the moment, Your Honor. I seen another letter as well about the prosecution and did anybody get that by chance or no?
I've not seen that.
Okay. But no, not at the time, Your Honor.
All right, these are currently set as co-defendants, and there's been no motion to sever, and so the presumption is that they proceed to trial together. I'm going to grant the motion. I'm going to grant the state's motion to continue 1 week. It's within speedy trial. And I'm not hearing that there's any prejudice. So I will strike next week's trial. I'll set it for the week after, and I'll set over confirmation to the 25th.
And Mr. Robinson, I have an amended offer. I know you've been opposed to any offer, but I'll come down and talk to you about that tomorrow.
Well, I didn't hear that, I'm sorry. What was that?
I got an amended offer from the prosecutor's office, so I'll come down and talk to you about that tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Offer from the prosecutor's office, so I'll come down and talk to you about that tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. All right, that will take care of the Robinson and Bailey cases. Yes.
May I address the court for a second? Is it the time frame since it's
Your Honor, his attorney's not here.
University student Kaden Young was unalived in Western Washington. 2 people arrested on drug charges in connection to his demise. That was on March 24th, 2023. Almost 5 months after the quadruples that took place in Idaho, Moscow. 2 people in custody after man dies of apparent OD in central apartment. So the first time Cayden was taken to the hospital and he survived, he was at the Holiday Inn. When he was discharged from the hospital, his friend took him to a centrally apartment. Now, what is strange is that Demetrius Robinson, 37 years old at that time, and Emma Bailey, 22 years old at that time, were both released. The case was dropped. The case was dismissed. So I'm sure the court believes that there was no foul play with the fentanyl OD. I wonder if they got a deal as informers. They didn't get charged with poor Kaden Young, his OD. He thought he was buying cocaine, but he never knew it was laced with poison, fentanyl. That's why we need to put out awareness. The young people dying, all age people dying of fentanyl. May he rest in peace. Now this is where it gets interesting. Let me start by saying this is all my thoughts, my speculations, and my opinions. The arrest of Kaden Young is all facts. Sorry, the death of Kaden Young is actually facts. But now I wanted to give you all my opinion. It was said that Emma Bailey, who got arrested with Demetrius Robinson, who is her best friend? Miss Bailey's best friend is Ashlyn Koch. Who is Miss Koch? Question mark. The infamous sixth roommate. Is that just a weird rabbit hole or weird coincidence? Or could there be something to this? Allegedly, this is what Ashlyn Couch had to say. A link to what? I talk to her at least once a day. She's talking about Emma. And talk to Demetrius 3+ times a day. So Ashlyn allegedly talks to Demetrius Robinson 3 times a day. And she talks to Emma once a day. She says, like I have said in the past, they may not be the best citizens out there, but in this situation, they're truly innocent. They were the ones who drove Cayden to the hospital and saved his life. Demetrius literally performed CPR on this kid to save him. I'm sorry that Cayden decided to continue partying after he was discharged. So we have somebody blaming a young student who lost his life on an OD. Apparently, the frat brother who was with Cayden showed the police that he recorded Cayden sleeping and snoring. But unfortunately, trigger warning guys, Kaden Young was breathing his last breaths. He wasn't snoring. He was on his way to the other side. May he rest in peace. Ashlyn Couch. I wonder how long she lived in the house. Was she actually still renting the room, or did she lease it to someone else? Why wasn't she there that night? Her mother said something about her changing her mind last minute. Was she aware that something was going to go down, allegedly? Was this just a coincidence? Ashlyn Couch and Emma Bailey and Demetrius know each other well. They're friends. She's even standing up, backing up Demetrius. Allegedly, she speaks to him 3+ times a day. And she speaks to Emma twice a week or thrice a week. So she is a closer friend to Demetrius, I would assume. And Emma lives right behind 1122 King Road. Let's not forget, we have seen Emma on the noise complaint. When the police visited 1122 King Road at night for the noise complaint, and Hunter J and the other young guy from Sigma Chi who opened the door, right before that happened, we saw the officers walking towards 1122 King Road. There were girls walking outside, coming out from 1122 King Road, and the cops asked them, "Who lives here?" They were talking to Emma Bailey. So we've seen Emma Bailey in that house before. Ashlyn Court said that people are quick to make judgments. She said Demetrius and Emma, they are not the most innocent citizens, but in Kaden Young is unaliving, they were innocent. Why is she backing up two drug dealers who OD'd a young 22-year-old student? Make this make sense. Just asking questions. Doesn't make sense to me. She said we shouldn't be quick on judging anyone. Then my question is, Ashlyn, when the young Frat fraternity brother who was in the motel with Kaden Young, when the police asked him to call your friend Emma Bailey, why did she say, "Love y'all, goodbye, I can't talk"? Is it because she knew poor Kaden Young OD'd? What was your connection to Demetrius and Emma? Because you have said yourself that you speak to Demetrius, you speak to Demetrius 3 times, 3+ times a day. I don't even call my family 3 times a day. What are y'all actually talking about is my question. How often was Demetrius and Emma visiting 1122 King Road? What do you know, Ashlyn? Why are you defending them? This is part 1 of Kaden Young's tragic death. I'll be making a part 2 soon, because I believe Kaden Young is unaliving, is related to the quadruples. He was the former president of AKA, Alpha Kappa Lambda. And for anyone who's watched my channel, you're aware of, I'm the YouTube creator that has always been focused on the Banfield boys and the grub truck. That's how I exposed what Saeed was watching, what the Banfield boys were doing. And that's how I found out about Ethan Knight, one of the Banfield boys, his case that he unalived his father and the father's dog in self-defense. But guess what? The Banfield boys, interestingly enough, belong to AKA fraternity, Alpha Lambda Kappa, or Alpha Kappa Lambda. Apologize. Alpha Kappa Lambda. The president of Alpha Kappa Lambda is Nick Scott. That is Sorry, the president is Nick Green. That is President Scott Green of Idaho Moscow University is son. The former president of AKA fraternity was no other than Kaden Young. May he rest in peace. Was Kaden Young is unaliving an accident? Or was he unalived on purpose because he knew something? I did a bit research on Kaden Young. May he rest in peace. He was a bright student. He was studying journalism, and he was the president of the journalism team in Idaho Moscow University. What a coincidence. He was working on human rights and other cases. What if Kaden Young came across something that he was going to tell on or write about? Could that be possible? What if he was silenced? Or could it be possible that Cayden found out something related to the quadruples and he was going to write about it? Or he was going to snitch on them? Could it be something related to Emma Bailey and Demetrius, that they knew that they had to get their hands dirty? Allegedly. This is all speculations and nothing else. I don't usually believe in coincidence. There's too much coincidence in this case. Emma Bailey, Demetrius Robinson, and Ashlyn Couch know each other well. They are the best of friends. Ashlyn is even defending Emma Bailey and Demetrius. We know that Demetrius has got cases on him. Domestic violence cases. He has anger management. According to Ashlyn Couch, who was trying to defend her friend Emma Bailey and Demetrius, she said that they tried to help Kaden Young and that there was no fentanyl lasered into his rugs, into the cocaine. But that is impossible because the toxicological report and the doctor report showed that Kaden Young was actually treated for fentanyl overdose. He did get Narcos, and it helped the first time, but unfortunately, he was unalived the second time. Something happened to him. That's just my opinion. We have the neighbor girl here, a little busy bee, in my opinion, Emma Bailey. And then in early 2023, she was arrested for DUI. I wonder what information Ashlyn Koch has. She was a good friend of Maddie. She took a lot of pictures with Maddie. There was rumors that the first week, there was rumors going around that Maddie flushed drugs worth $75,000. Do you all remember that? Is that tied to Demetrius and Emma Bailey? Just a question. Kaden Young was the former president of Alpha Kappa Lambda. Nick Green, that is Scott Green, the president of the university, his son, was the president of Alpha Kappa Lambda when Cayden OD'd. Wonder if there's any relations there. So these are frat brothers. It was their frat brother who was OD'd. And he was the president, former president of their frat, and Kaden Young was a journalist. He was studying journalism his last year, and he was the president of the journalist team in Idaho, Moscow University. I wonder if he was writing something about what was going on in the college. Nick Green said he was friends with Ethan and Zana. This is Nick Green, the president of Alpha Kappa Lambda. Kaden Young, may rest in peace, who died on 21st March 2023, couple of months after the tragic unaliving of the 4 victims. Kaden Young was the former president of Alpha Kappa Lambda. And Nick Green was the president later on. I wonder why the change. Is it because Nick Green is Scott Green's son? I've always said that the Banfield boys and Saeed is actually in the AKA frat, Alpha Kappa Lambda. I always believe Saeed came to distract the cops. Nick Green, his frat brothers were at the Banfield around 2:54. The whole Banfield stop is weird to me. That's why I have been analyzing the Banfield body cam and the grub truck body cam more than any other thing in this case. The reason is my instincts led me there, because when I look at the previous timelines, that is how I always said from the beginning that this is 2 separate incidents. When the crowd is yelling out, Zana, Zana, Ethan, let's go Ethan, at the grub truck would have been around 2 to 2:10. 2:10 is when DM calls Eric Gower, the driver. We never hear of Ethan and Zana. BF said that she saw Zana in black clothing and she thought it was weird. What time was that? I wonder if the rummaging upstairs was not only the Sigma Chi fraternity boys. I wonder if it was the Alpha Kappa Lambda that came to fight with Ethan and Zana. And I believe the Sigma Chi fraternity boys, one of the jacks or both of the jacks, came for Maddie and Keely. When I say the Sigma Chi fraternity boys, let me correct myself, because there are many students. Those are all frat boys. I don't mean the whole frat. I mean the Davids specifically. According to 4chan, I really believe that it was the Davids and maybe some of the other frats, because you can see the four figures running. Ethan Knight. I spoke about him recently. He was arrested. He had a case going on. Right after, while the quadruples happened. In February 2022, he unalived his father, Michael Knight, and the family dog. He used the GUN. So we have a shooter here, allegedly. The prosecutor in this case did not believe it was self-defense. The prosecutor said it was pre-planned. His mother bailed him out for $25,000. So he was on bail from February 2022. And on 13th November 2022, or should we say 12th November, coincidentally, he's near a quadruple crime scene. He's at the Banfield. This could be all nothing, but this could be something. I keep on researching more deeper into this case, but today I personally believe I'm getting somewhere. I never thought that Kaden Young, may rest in peace, was from the Alpha Kappa Lambda. He was the former president. And I've heard rumors of DM and Ashlyn Court being good friends with Emma Bailey and Demetrius. I've even heard BF. So if there was any rug element, it seems to be getting clearer now. But Alpha Kappa Lambda, and the Sigma Chi fraternity boys were out that night. That's why I'm always so focused on the fraternities, sororities, surviving roommates. Could be possibly an inside job too. Quinn Kelly, the Jacks are from... Jack Showalter was kicked out from Delta Tau Delt. Interestingly enough, Showalter, it's been said allegedly that he used to bully Hudson Lindo. And he was there the night Hudson Lindo was at the Delta Tau Delt fraternity party. So was Zana, so was Maddie, may they rest in peace, and so was Maddie's boyfriend Jake. I'm sure Zana, Maddie, and Jake were all witness to whatever happened to poor Hudson Lindo. This is the second guy from Banfield, Peter Reagan. Taylor Parkhill, the treasurer, he was the one who looked very anxious at Banfield. He was wearing the small t-shirt. His pants looked really wouldn't say dirty. Looked like there was some brown, red patches on it. He had on Van shoes. There was so much going on with these three boys and Saeed, especially Saeed paying Venmos. It was Saeed who sent the first Venmo. At 2:13, so he was the early bird. Whatever they were sending the Venmos for had some connection to the quadruple. I wonder if there was a fight club. I wonder if these people were bidding. I don't know if these people were, God forbid, betting. Something was going on. Before I end, I'd like to thank